These monkeys are starving. They are huddled on the floor, emaciated, staring at a ladder that leads to a cluster of shriveled black bananas. The food is less than 10 feet away, yet not one of them will move. They are living out a paradox often described in ancient Hindi proverbs: the prisoner who sits within an open door, mourning a loss of freedom they are currently holding in their hands. They have constructed a cage out of the way things have always been, and they are dying to protect it. Why would an intelligent creature choose to perish rather than violate an unspoken, invisible rule? In 1967, researchers found the answer. In the original 5 monkeys experiment, the rule began with a physical threat. Every time a monkey reached for the ladder, the scientists blasted the entire group with high-pressure, freezing water. This reaction tapped into a deep evolutionary survival mechanism. Our ancestors survived the Pleistocene because they prioritized the group over the individual. If the tribe ran from a shadow in the grass, the person who stayed to ask why was eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. Our biology reinforced this. The brain's reward system releases dopamine when we successfully mirror the behavior of those around us. It is a chemical well done for staying part of the pack. Conversely, when we deviate, the prefrontal cortex triggers a response that mirrors physical trauma. Breaking a social rule generates a surge of shame that feels like literal heat radiating through the body. The monkeys aren't just avoiding a bath. Their nervous systems have been rewired to see individual initiative as a threat to their collective existence. The researchers turned the water off and replaced one of the original monkeys with a newcomer. Naturally, the new monkey saw the bananas and immediately reached for the ladder. The veterans didn't wait for a splash. They swarmed the newcomer, dragging him to the floor and beating him into submission. This is normative social influence. The new monkey didn't learn from the water. He learned that his peers would violently reject him if he touched the ladder. He adopted the rule purely to avoid the group's wrath. Carl Jung observed this phenomenon in humans, noting that a collective mass tends to extinguish the reflection and insight an individual is capable of. We trade our independent logic for the comfort of belonging. We outsource our thinking to the crowd, because the prospect of being ostracized is more terrifying than the prospect of being wrong. Eventually, every original monkey was replaced. The cage was now filled with animals who had never seen the water blast, yet they still brutally attacked anyone who approached the ladder. They were trapped in pluralistic ignorance, enforcing a rule that no one understood simply because each monkey assumed that every other monkey believed in it. Michel Foucault described this as the panopticon effect. It is a state of conscious and permanent visibility that assures the automatic functioning of power. We become the guards of our own prison. A Dartmouth study shows how deep this internalization goes. When participants judged actions under time pressure, the data revealed a startling overlap. We don't just see abnormal behavior as bad, we see it as physically impossible. We stop seeing the ladder entirely. The water gun is rusted and broken, but the prison is flawless because the bars have successfully moved inside the mind. Jung called the path out of this loop individuation. It begins by bringing these unconscious, inherited scripts into the light of conscious awareness. This requires a deliberate interruption of our energy-saving autopilot. We have to look at our daily fears and ask if they serve our survival or if they are just the echoes of an old punishment. Choosing to climb requires accepting that social friction and the heat of shame are not signs of failure, but the necessary cost of personal movement. This shifts our perspective of the world from a set of rigid physical laws to what cultural philosophy in Varanasi calls Maya, a shared collective hallucination. If the Dartmouth study proved our brains mistake social norms for physical impossibilities, then the reality we fear is often just a projection of the group. The complexes that keep you from your goals are psychological shadows cast by a water gun that hasn't fired in decades. Your hand reaches out. You grip the rusted metal of the ladder. Every nerve in your body is screaming at you to let go, bracing for the blast of cold water your ancestors promised would come. But the air remains dry. There is no shock. As you climb, you realize the path upward was never actually blocked. You can look back at the negativity of the crowd, step on it with a smile, and realize near judgment was the only thing holding the ladder down. If you're ready to leave the huddle and start the climb, type "free" in the comments. Subscribe to Mind Unlock, and let's start making the unconscious conscious.